Does anybody recognize this tree? These are maples. This is a sugar maple tree. Probably one of my all-around favorite native trees for Kentucky or the whole eastern United States. This is a sugar maple. This is the infamous tree that makes maple syrup. And so you could make maple syrup too if you had one of these, and if you had like lots of buckets and lots of time and more than one tree, because it takes a lot of sap to make 1 gallon of syrup. But one of the reasons that I love sugar maples is because they turn glorious colors in the fall. And it's a good tree, a good clean tree, which means it doesn't drop a whole lot of stuff besides the beautiful leaves in the fall. But these will turn anywhere from yellow to gold to orange. Every once in a while you'll find a sugar maple that turns red, but usually sugar maples don't turn red. That's more of the red maple that turns red. But really pretty in the spring when the flowers come out. A lot of people don't talk about sugar maple flowers, but they're a pretty limey green or chartreuse flower in the spring. And those are the flowers that make all the little helicopters or the little whirly birds. Yes, sir?
I bet a lot of squirrels come upon these.
You think so?
Because those red squirrels, because when they're out of nuts, so they'll come up to the sugar maples, and they'll dig little things or find ways to go bring the syrup up, and then they'll let it dry out in the sun, and then it'll become sweeter, and then they'll use it as a food source.
Well, I didn't know that. Where'd you learn that? Oh, that's good. So they use the sap for the sugar then. That's really interesting. Yeah, so there's a lot of insects and animals that use sugar maples for one thing or another, the sap or the fruit. But it is a great native tree and a good one that's adapted as long as you don't plant it in a spot that's too wet or too dry. It likes it kind of right in the middle. But it is a good fast growing tree. It is hard to grow grass underneath an established sugar maple tree just because it is a densely foliated tree. But it is one of the best trees for shade in central Kentucky.
Now, is the color in the fall based on the amount of water or rainfall?
Well, it's based on a lot of things, based on what the temperatures are, based on how much rainfall we've had, but it's really related more to the coolness, the heat that we have during the fall. But it's all tied into the length of the days. But some of the best color that we've had in the past is on some of the worst summers that we've had too. Usually if it's a very dry summer, it will color up earlier, but it all just depends on when we get rainfall and things. Last year we didn't think we were going to get much fall color because of how wet it was, but that was one of the prettiest falls that we had. And part of that was because we didn't have any early freezes. If you have an early freeze, that will cut the fall color short. But if you have an extended and lots of moisture, then you're going to have an extended fall as long as it doesn't freeze too early. So, but it's all tied into all the natural conditions, and it's going to vary from one year to the next. But sugar maples are one of the ones that you can almost always get good color on.